Yes, guys, I finally seen Star Wars The Last Jedi with my very own eyes. Sorry, guys, this review is a bit late. Well, one of the reasons why this review is late because this is a movie that I had to think for days and hours and minutes on this movie to get my actual legit review of Star Wars The Last Jedi, which is directed by Rian Johnson. And no need to mention the cast, because we got the cast from The Force Awakens back, and we got the original, well, some of the original cast back from the original trilogy, and let's get into this bad boy, Star Wars The Last Jedi. The movie, of course, takes place right after the end of The Force Awakens, where Rey comes up to Luke, pointing out the lightsaber to Luke, and that hinted that Luke is going to be training Rey to be a Jedi Master, and so many other stuff going on in this movie, like Finn, and this character Rose, and Leia, and Poe Dameron, and so many other commotions were going on in this movie that's pretty much enough said about The Last Jedi. That it's Star Wars. It's a Star Wars movie. What is there more to say about the plot? I mean, come on. But before I give my opinion on this film, I would like to say that we all have opinions. We all have different viewpoints on things, whether it's movies, games, music, songs, TV shows, even like clothes, like anything. We all have our different viewpoints on a work or a different type of art form. We have opinions. We can respect people's opinions, even though it might not be the same as yours. We could disagree. We can agree with people who have opinions that are the same as you or different than you. Like I said, if you like a movie that a lot of people hate, that's cool. And if you hate a movie that a lot of people love, that is cool. Because, the reason why I'm saying this is because this movie has been getting so many mixed reaction from fans online, on social media. A lot of fans have been having butting heads on this movie. And I'm just like, come on, y'all. Are y'all serious? I know it's Star Wars. Star Wars fan base is insane. But seeing like all this stuff going on the internet about this movie, I was like, come on. Y'all, like, can y'all just like get a life? Like, I'm not saying these people don't have a life, but I'm just like, don't you got stuff better to do? So with that being said, I love The Last Jedi. Is it the best Star Wars movie? No. Is it the worst Star Wars movie? No. Does the movie have issues? Yes. Is the movie a lot of fun? At times, this movie is very fun, and I do gotta say that my main pros I gotta give for this movie comes from the director Rian Johnson, who took the Star Wars franchise to a whole completely different level. That he took a lot of risk. This movie was ballsy. I gotta say, this movie at times was very ballsy for the stuff that they did. And for what I experienced in this movie, this is also a hard movie to talk about without spoiling everything. So, if this review is very brief, I apologize on that. So, like I said, this movie is very risky, it's very ballsy, and I do gotta say that Rian Johnson, I gotta give kudos to you for that. To try something different with the Star Wars saga. Like something I've never seen before. Like, oh, that was pretty cool. I like how they did that. That was interesting. Something that they added in the franchise that a lot of people, diehard fans, may not appreciate. Will be like, wait, what? Like, yeah, because I saw some like fans' reaction from this that didn't like the things that happened in this movie, which I understand that if it's like completely different from what we're used to, but I just, at this point right now, people are saying that, oh, The Force Awakens was too much like the original film. But now people are saying this too, that, oh, this is too different from Star Wars. It should be more like Empire Strikes Back. I feel like if this film would have been more like Empire Strikes Back, it probably would have got a lot more hate, because Empire Strikes Back is still considered to be the best Star Wars movie ever. So if this movie was a rehash to Empire Strikes Back, it would have got a lot more hate. Like, I'm being honest right there. That's my opinion on that. I mean, if you really think about it, this franchise has been around for 40 years now. And this is the ninth film or eighth film in this franchise. And you would expect for them to try something different or add a little something something to the franchise that makes it a lot more interesting. Where you're like, okay, I see where they're going with this. They're going a completely different route that is nothing what we're used to, but I'm digging it. And that's how I was watching this movie. I was digging it. And a lot of Star Wars fans are saying that this is a good movie. It's a great movie, but as a Star Wars movie, it fails on so many levels. Which this movie reminds me a lot of Star Trek Into Darkness, where a lot of Trekkies, including myself, saying that this is a really good movie, but as a Star Trek film, not the greatest, but this is still an enjoyable film, but not my favorite in the Star Trek franchise. And that's the same thing what's happening with Star Wars: The Last Jedi, where a lot of fans are saying that this is a good movie, but as a Star Wars movie, they just hate every second of it. It completely deviates itself from the franchise and what the franchise stands for, and it's like, okay, I'm just viewing this as a movie and a Star Wars movie second. Because as a film, like I said, this is really good. And I'll get into why I love this film so much, as I've been talking my butt off on just the opinions and stuff. But I need to get into the film now. Sorry, guys. It was already obvious that this movie was going to look gorgeous. Because this movie looks freaking fantastic. I mean, the visuals, the effects, all that stuff, but you already know it's gonna look great. So it was no question of whether will the effects be good or not. Heck yeah, they were good. I mean, despite the fact that we had the prequels, which the effects in those films are completely dated, and rewatching those films, I'm like, ugh, that's some ugly CGI. But the effects in this movie look freaking real. I love how they combine it with special effects and practical effects. They combine those two, and they definitely nailed that with this film. And just the cinematography, and just some of the imagery of this film, I was already mouth mouth dropped. I mean, just the fact that when I buy this movie on Blu-ray 4K, pop it in my 4K player, which I ain't getting for Christmas, by the way, and for 4K TV, I'm gonna sit there just be all in awe and just drooling for how the effects look in this film, because the effects are one of the main highlights of this film, in my opinion. Now, I will admit there aren't too many lightsaber battles in this movie. I will admit that, but when one lightsaber battle happens in this movie, I was applauding in the entire theater. My theater applauded too, because I saw this movie at the National Air and Space Museum Smithsonian in a huge IMAX screen, and this movie looks glorious in IMAX. It looks its best on with all of its. This movie just looks amazing. This movie looks amazing. I know I'm fanboy right now, but I'll get to my problems later. But I'm just giving my positives. A lightsaber battle in this movie, it was oh my god, probably one of the best I've ever seen in any of the Star Wars films, and that scene alone was just praiseworthy. I mean, I can understand you may not like the rest of the movie, but if you just don't like that scene, come on now, that scene was just freaking cool. Unlike the last Star Wars movie that featured characters I never gave a crap about, this movie had characters I give a crap about, well, with the exception of probably just one. Of course, I love me some Rey. Daisy Ridley gives a great performance in this movie, which I have an attraction to Daisy Ridley. That is probably no secret to anybody who knows me. And John Boyega as Finn in this movie, this is probably my favorite performance of him in the saga so far. He was good in the last movie, he was great, but this movie, his performance excelled from the last film. Oscar Isaac, of course, great as Poe Dameron. We get to see Adam Driver as Kylo Ren. My god, was he a beast in this movie. He was phenomenal. I mean, probably one of my favorite performances in the Star Wars saga. Just this guy alone, he gives this guy. I feel like in the near future, he's gonna be a star. Like this dude's gonna be a star. Adam Driver, really like this guy. Kylo Ren, definitely one of my favorite characters in the saga. Carrie Fisher in this movie as Leia. May she rest in peace. Miss this woman so much. Luke Skywalker is back, and this is the first time we have seen Luke since Return of the Jedi, besides the ending of The Force Awakens. And this is where fans come to debate where they either love this iteration of Luke, or they had to hate it, where this is like the Luke that we know from the original trilogy, and this is against the character of Luke Skywalker. Like I said, I'm not going to explain anything, because it'll be considered to be a spoiler, so... I actually loved Mark Hamill in this movie. Like I said, this is Luke that we've never seen before. For me, this is sort of like a different iteration, an older version of Luke. This is Hermit Luke. But there are scenes in this movie that remind you of the old Luke from the original trilogy, where that boyish charm, that personality that he had, that enthusiasm that he had in the original trilogy and in the first film, the original Star Wars from 1977. So Mark Hamill definitely did a great job in this movie. He did not disappoint. I know where a lot of fans get mad at the iteration of Luke. So I can see, like I said, I can see why people are just completely against this movie. Like, there are a lot of fans are just like, they just hate this version of Luke. Where for me, I was completely fine with this version. I was fine with Luke in this movie. Like, Luke, Mark Hamill, great job in this movie. Great job. You, Mark Hamill, you are a legend in sci-fi history. Like, I know I'm sort of talking too much, but I mean, like, yeah, I mean, like, this Mark friggin' Hamill back as Luke. Like, how cool is that? At least it's cool to see Luke again in a Star Wars film. Of course, I can't forget to talk about BB-8. BB-8 is so freaking cute. Especially in this movie, he is a G in this movie. Like, if you watch the movie, you know what I'm talking about. But BB-8, I just love that little thing. I just love that little droid. Probably one of my favorite droids in the Star Wars saga. I know I keep saying one of my favorites in the Star Wars saga, because this movie has a lot of my favorite things in the saga, in this universe that we had since '77. But BB-8, my goodness, man. I need a BB-8 figure. As a matter of fact, I don't have that many Star Wars figures, to be honest with you. I only have the movies, the clothing, like the merchandising, like the posters and all the other stuff. But I don't really have like the action figures and the video games, all the other like toys or collectibles. I don't have all that other stuff, 'cause I never had the time to buy those things. But I still am a Star Wars fan. I just don't have all 50 million Star Wars things in my room. But like I said, BB-8, love that little thing. One of my favorite droids ever. And the porgs, they didn't bother me. I thought they were going to irritate the heck out of me in this movie, but they didn't bother me at all. They were actually kind of cute. Really cute. I love those little things, the porgs. I mean, I thought they would be the next Ewoks or Jar Jar Binks. Oh, saying that name makes me just want to... But anyways, yeah, I love the porgs. I love BB-8, those things. Star Wars just have these cute little things in this very, like, I don't know how to describe it, like, this dark galaxy, but I don't know. But yeah, Star Wars can be very serious, but it can be very silly sometimes. Just let you know, guys. And you know, of course, John Williams' score is going to be great. That's obvious. The score is phenomenal in this movie, but now I get to get into a few nitpicks that I have with this movie. The character of Rose, I didn't really find all that interesting. I didn't really care for her character at all. And when her and Finn go on their little adventure, there is a scene in the movie where I just go, okay, like, this feels out of, like, what? What? Like, are you serious? They're going this route? They're going with this stupid thing? Like, oh my, it was just so unnecessary. I wish they would have cut that scene out, really, but that's all the negatives I have for this movie. Just Really, like, they're not really things I can crap on this film. They're just not. I mean, but just because it's a Star Wars movie doesn't mean I have to love it. Like, for example, episode 1 and 2. Those are very poor movies. They're very poor Star Wars movies. And I don't like those movies at all. I like episode 3, although. I love the original trilogy. I love The Force Awakens. And I like Rogue One, even though that movie has iffy moments. But that scene with Vader at the end was pretty awesome. But for this movie, The Last Jedi, I'm going to wrap this up very quickly because if I say more about this movie, it will be 30 minutes long, including spoilers. I don't want to include spoilers in this review, so here's what I gotta say about The Last Jedi. It is a flawed masterpiece. This movie has issues, I will admit that. Even I had to point out some of the issues when I saw this movie in IMAX. But at the same time, they did things in this movie that I was very surprised by and took the franchise to a different route that but thought it was very interesting and very clever for what they did. Yeah, it didn't have all yeah, it did have some of the things that The Force Awakens left hanging, but I was okay with that. To be honest with you, I was okay with that. I won't say some of the things that happened in this movie that were very false, but because this will be like a long review. But to keep it short and simple, it's a flawed masterpiece, and it has issues. I will admit. I can see why fans could hate this movie. But saying that this is the worst movie ever, like, no, there's a petition going on online for Star Wars fans want this movie to be non-canon, and that shows that the Star Wars fan base is just a mess. And that's why I stay away from Star Wars conversations online. But overall, I love this movie. Loved almost every second of it. It's a flawed masterpiece. Even though I have problems with it, but just because it has problems doesn't mean I doesn't love everything about this movie. But so with that being said, let's get to the grade for this film. Star Wars: The Last Jedi gets an A+. But just because I give it that grade, that doesn't mean I have any issues with the film. Like I said, this movie is a flawed masterpiece in my eyes. So yeah, those are my thoughts on Star Wars: The Last Jedi. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Let me know what you think of the movie in the comment section down below. And just state your honest opinion on what you think of The Last Jedi. If you love the movie, say it in the comments. And if you hate the movie, say it in the comments. If you think it's just okay, just say it in the comments. Nobody's forcing you to like or hate a movie. Like, no one. It's your own right to say what you gotta think about a film. Because that's what makes the world go around. So yeah, thanks so much for watching, guys. If you are new to my channel, and if you like this video, like, comment, subscribe, and may the Force be with you.